So you've got anxiety when it comes to dating. Been there, done that, overthinking in your head, wondering how the hell are you going to get back out there after that relationship didn't go as planned? Well, I wanted to share today on the podcast about the fact that it it's our thoughts about dating that are making us scared to date. So for example, you've said something like, all the good ones are taken. I'm too old. I don't want to get hurt again. I just want to focus on myself. These are common things that I hear all the time. And like, you're not alone. I've totally been there too. And I feel like when it comes to the anxiety around dating, it's because we really have a fear of, there's two things: fear of getting hurt again and a fear of intimacy. So when it comes to like fear of getting hurt again, it's because we've had our heart broken. And I'm going to venture to guess that your heart has been broken even before this last relationship. Maybe this is a common theme that like you keep getting into one relationship after another where it's like rinse and repeat. The person looks different, but like it's actually the same. Or hey, maybe some of you are doing what I used to do, just like still hook up with your ex. Okay. So the fact is that when you have a fear of getting hurt again, you're essentially self-sabotaging and you will get hurt again because you haven't cleaned it up. And I heard from somebody recently, we did a consult together, and she's like, but I've done so much work on myself. Like, why isn't this part cleaned up? And I'm a big believer it's because you haven't actually dealt with when was the first time that you had your heart broken. When was the first time that your parents or your caregivers or somebody in school that you thought was hot didn't give you the time or attention that you wanted, or they told you, maybe your cousin told you you were too annoying when you were a kid or something. These stories that took place, or these experiences, I should say, took place, and they created stories that we started telling about ourselves. But here's the thing: you're not too much, you're not too old. You can focus on yourself and really then learn how to stop overthinking when it comes to dating. So that way, when you show up in a relationship, you're not losing yourself. There is nothing wrong with you being just yourself. You are not too much and you're not enough. Like, not enough. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't put on this planet to walk around with our shoulders slumped forward thinking that we're too much or we're not enough, which is causing us anxiety. And it's causing us to either take time off from dating and not get back out there again for a while, or we get back out there and we keep making the same mistakes. And for those women who have gone through Let Love In, my group program over 12 weeks, like, the chances of you making the same mistakes are slim to none. Like, and I would say that there's quite a few people actually who could stand to be in program a lot longer. And that's not because they're going any faster or slower than the other. It's because their heels, their their heels, their issues that they've been having, their hurt, they've just been distracting deeper or longer. Maybe there's just been shit that you just haven't dealt with and you haven't wanted to. And is inner work hard? You bet your ass it is. But I just did a podcast today where Colleen Nelson was talking about like, but it's hard. Okay. Life's already hard right now. Like, we have to do this work on ourselves. We don't want to be freaking 75 and turn around and say, I wish that I lived a life that I really loved. No, that was actually my tagline when I first started my business. Did you guys know that? Live a life you love. And that's because I truly, truly believed that was my intention for doing everything I did. It was why I was sleeping with people too soon when I didn't really know them or trust them. It was why I had expectations that the guy should pay for the first date. I thought it meant something about me. It's why I dyed my hair different colors or wore certain clothes or always wore 5-inch heels. And now I can't even put my foot in a shoe anymore. And I remember my doctor kept telling me, stop wearing them damn 5-inch heels, but I didn't listen. And because I thought it was going to make me look better, I thought it was going to make me feel better. I kept thinking that if I just kept dating, then I would find the one and then everything would be cured. But deep down is the second part around the anxiety around dating is I had a deep fear of intimacy. I had a deep fear that if you truly got to know me, I'll never forget this. Well, Dr. Brashani Reese said this. She was on our podcast. She said this to me. I had a fear that if you truly knew me, then you'd leave me. And I remember I was like, I called her crying afterwards. I was like, square in the eye. I resonate with that statement. Yeah, I thought that if you truly knew me, then you wouldn't like me. And guess what? Some people don't like me, and that's okay. For some people, I'm too much. Okay. I think you're too much. Or like there's other people that I find to be too much. It doesn't mean that I have to knock them or talk shit about them. It just means that like some people are just aren't my people. And I'm starting to learn more that as we get healthier, we define what's really true for us and what we need and what we want is that our friendships fade. But true intimacy comes, and most people think intimacy means sex. It doesn't. If you look up the definition of intimacy, it actually means closeness. This is two people coming together and being close. And you think about it in this way, like intimacy is you sitting down with your best friend and being able to spill the tea on like whatever's up. Or I have my friend Lone. I think Lone listens to this podcast. Girl, if you're listening, I just want to tell you right now, I am so grateful for you. So we have this relationship where we call each other, she's in Thailand right now. And we have a relationship where we probably talk once every 3 months, but we schedule it. Like usually when we're together, we try to schedule for the next time. Sometimes we don't get there, but we skip all the bullshit. Right when we first start talking, we're like, all right, so spill it. How you really feeling? And she'll be like, all right, well, my dad this, my mom that, like, and then I'll go into it. I'll be like, I've been in my head about my relationship with Matt. Like, where's this going? And blah, blah. Like, should I be feeling this way? Should I not be feeling this way? What made you decide to have kids? Do you regret having kids? And like, we just spill it. We just go deep. That is intimacy. It's a closeness. If I don't hear from Lone in a while, she doesn't hear from me. There's no dependency on how on the other person feeling ruffled or whatever, because I know where I stand with her and I've built a relationship with her that she can come to me and say, I have a problem with something you said in that last phone call, or, and I can go to her and say that thing. And that's intimacy. When you can be your real and authentic self and the tears are flowing. I remember one time we were on the phone and I was crying so hard and I was talking about my relationship at the time. And I was just feeling really like worn out and feeling like should figure it all out. And I just said, there's so much coming up. I feel like there's so much emotion. And we connected the inner child work that I've been doing, which by the way, I'm going to be talking about way more on the podcast these days because this shit changes lives. Inner child work, for those of you who don't know, is, I'm going to preface this, I'm not a therapist, but this is what I know it to be true, is that we are beings, right? Whatever age we are, but there are different parts of us at younger ages who felt scolded or not good enough or whatever else. And that inner child, she, he, whatever, they literally hold on and attach to those experiences and make those stories mean something about them. And this carries on in the rest of our life. But I'm bawling. And then I was like, Lon, I feel fucking fried right now. Like I can't talk anymore. And she's like, cool, I actually had to go anyway. I was like, all right, I like wiped my tears and I was like, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Like we just pieced out. Like it was just such an amazing friendship. That's intimacy. That's the kind of relationship that I've built with Matt. It's the relationship that I would say I'm desperately trying to have with my parents. I don't know that it's ever going to change. They can only give me what they can give me. Right. And the way that my mom and I talk a lot about my mom, but my dad needs to own his shit too. But my mom and I used to have this really codependent relationship where we would talk about anything and everything. And it was sort of a confessional for both of us. And it's a really unhealthy dynamic. And as I got healthier, our relationship had to shift. My father is very surface level. He doesn't go very deep. He doesn't tell you what's really on his heart. But if you piss him off, he won't tell you right then. He'll wait a little bit and then be like, all right, so I didn't really like when you did this. And he'll like totally dad you. And you're just like, oh, sorry, why didn't you just say something in a moment? I would have just fucking sat down and not did the toast. My dad likes to give toasts. You guys have family members like this. My dad likes to give a toast every, like whenever we're doing a family event, Christmas, whatever. And one year I stood up and did the toast because nobody was doing the toast. So I was like, I'm gonna stand up. Everybody, thanks so much for coming. There's 25 of us packed in this little Italian cafe in the North End. And afterwards, my dad was like, this was months later, was like, I didn't like how you did that, or a week later. I didn't really like how you did that. And I had to hold space for him, right? Intimacy is about listening. And like, I used to get really defensive. That used to be my mechanism. I'd be like, well, dad, I didn't mean to. And like, the more that I get older and the more that I practice this inner work and this inner child work, is literally acting as if I would have wanted somebody to act towards me as a young child and say, I hear you. Sorry I disappointed you. Tell me more. Like, listen and actually be really active. And so I think what's happening for some of you who are not dating and not wanting to get back out there is that you have a fear of intimacy. You have a fear of getting hurt again. And you have to be really cautious of this because there's a term called sexual anorexia, which means I am going to restrain from, like kind of like anorexia is, right? Most of us think of it as food, is you're going to restrict yourself from actually enjoying love. So where in your life right now can you be letting love into your life? That's why the name of the program is the way that it is because where can you take time off from dating, be super focused on yourself, create less anxiety, more peacefulness in your life without dating? Understand your relationship to dating. Why is it that you have a fear of intimacy? Why is it that you have anxiety or you're avoidant? Maybe you ghost people when you're just done with them. Like, let's look at your shit. If we can look at your shit and understand why you have anxiety around dating, why is it that you just don't want to put yourself back out there again? Or you had maybe, I met this client one time, she had literally restricted herself from dating for like 3 to 5 years. I think there was 2 of them. One was 3, one was 5. And they had both said, like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to keep living this life where I'm not actually letting someone in. So, excuse me, what I wanted to share with you is that, one of the resources is certainly Let Love In. You guys know that it's a 12-week group program. It's women only, or those who identify as women. And you can come into this group trying to learn to have a better relationship with yourself, trying to learn how to have a better relationship when it comes to dating. You will not necessarily date when you leave this program. You will not necessarily date during this program. I will help you determine when that happens for you. And the purpose being, is there a lot we have to get clear on? Why did you attract the people that you used to attract? Who did you used to attract? How did you show up in relationships? Were you the kind of person that felt like you needed to be text called on every day, all day? Were you the kind of person that ghosted somebody when you weren't really into them? Did you often talk to 2 people? And then when the one that you really liked, who was a bad boy or was somebody who was inconsistent, and you're like, oh, I'm going to cancel on the nice one. No, like, let's look at that stuff and really understand. And let's also understand your relationship to your body. Let's understand, do you love yourself? Do you not love yourself? And there's so many other components like overthinking. And, I think so many of us don't understand that why we take the actions we do in our life. Why do we still think about our ex? Why do we call our ex? Why do we not date? Why are we just saying that we're going to focus on ourselves? And yet, God, you guys know this. I love podcasts. I love recording this thing, but how much free content can you download? Are you actually taking action? Are you actually practicing this stuff? Are you actually in a safe and supported environment with people? And again, it doesn't need to be my coaching. It could be anybody's, but like getting some sort of mentorship with someone who has done this deep inner work on themselves and now has a beautiful relationship to themselves and now has a beautiful relationship to someone else or other people in their lives. And you guys get to start to practice, especially within Let Love In. You get to practice with your family. You get to practice with your friends. You get to practice with the other women in the group and really learning, how can I be vulnerable? How can I truly tell people what's on my heart and in my mind without feeling like I'm going to be judged, criticized, or shamed? By the way, the first couple of weeks, you're totally going to feel that way. You're totally going to be like, I just sent that post, or I just used my voice and I fear what the other girls will think. That will fade over time. This is a really safe space. And honestly, it's the foundation of what I do. Literally, I'm taking like 11 years of my healing journey and really understanding, like, how can I simplify this for you guys? How can I make it so easy? Hold on, I'm gonna get water. How can I make it so easy for you to be able to not have it take that long, so that when you do get back out there and date, you aren't wondering if you should wear the heel or the flat shoe. You aren't going to wonder, should you call or text? That might come up. a little bit at the beginning, but eventually it will soothe, because underneath that is you really wanting to feel fulfilled. That's really you wanting what you've always wanted, which is just to be loved. So, where in your life right now can you show yourself some love? Can you go get a massage? Can you go for a walk out in nature? Can you go get your nails done? Guys, by the way, I didn't realize. So I used to get my nails done all the time, and I never looked at it as a form of self-care. I looked at it from a lens of like, I have to do this in order to take care of myself. I have to do this in order to be attractive. So again, going back to this like fear of getting hurt and this fear of intimacy, where have you hurt yourself? Where have you felt like you are distracting yourself from truly getting to know yourself? Where can you show yourself a little grace? A little alleviate, or I should say, alleviate the shame that's coming up. There doesn't need to be. So, with that being said, drop a comment on Instagram or here at the podcast. I want you to screenshot this episode. And yeah, that's what I want you to do. I want you to screenshot this episode, throw it up on Instagram, tag me kg.katiegrimes. And I want you to share, what was your self-love moment? What was the thing that you did to let a little bit more love into your life? I would love, love, love to hear. And you guys know, Let Love In is open for enrollment. So you guys are welcome to apply. I do ask that we do a quick call to get to know one another, make sure that you are willing to put dating down for about 6 to 8 weeks. You are single, you are open to all bodies and backgrounds. So that means LGBTQIA, Black Lives Matter. I'm all about equality. So I want to make sure that you are safe in this environment. I also want to make sure that you're vibing with us. So let's get on a call and have a conversation. Let it change the way that you love yourself. And then let's go learn how to love other people. And truly, that is the essence of what it means to let love in. Loving myself, learning how to do that, and then loving other people. And when you guys are ready, then I'll move you into phase 2 and we'll talk about how to date. So I'm sending you guys a lot of health and happiness. Go spread some love today.